Now, the world superpower, as they call themselves, the United States, there is reeling under the coronavirus crisis. The US state is in virtual lockdown due to coronavirus, and the famed basketball league NBA is really not untouched. The sporting fraternity in the USA has come to a complete halt after the panic. In fact, 2 NBA stars have tested positive. I spoke to sports attorney there, Bartie, on how the sporting fraternity in the United States is really battling the crisis now. Take a listen. People in the United States are grappling for life owing to the coronavirus crisis. Most of the sporting events, or all of it, have now come to a halt. Joining me live is Bartie there, sports attorney, partner co-chair Melvini and Mayers joining us. Jared, do tell us, what's the situation like? We understand that the United States went into panic mode after the NBA suspended its games.
Yes, Nabila, this is something that we haven't seen. This is unprecedented in sports throughout the world, frankly, but particularly in the United States. When the NBA decided to suspend play after one of its players tested positive, I think it sent a clear message to the global sports community that this is a virus that has to be taken very seriously and is a very serious global health concern.
Right. First NBA player there has tested positive of coronavirus, Rudy Gobert. Could you elaborate?
Sure. Rudy Gobert was identified as testing positive for the virus, which ultimately led to the NBA decision to suspend play. There was some contemplation about playing games without fans in the arena. I think the positive test changed that because you can't have players playing with each other when there's the risk of infection or passing of the virus. And in fact, a second player of the Utah Jazz, same team as Rudy Gobert, was identified as testing positive for the virus as well.
Right. It's quite unfortunate. We understand there has been huge losses in revenue, Jared, quite naturally.
Sure. I mean, the sports industry globally is a $160 billion industry. And when you suspend games and suspend or postpone tournaments, what have you, there's a significant impact on the financials and the revenue in particular. I mean, you have loss of media rights revenue, you have loss of ticket sales revenue, everything from a hot dog, a soda, a T-shirt, a hat. All of that revenue is foregone when there's not games being played.
Absolutely. The sporting fraternity in the United States is the largest across the globe. We do understand. What are the other games that have now come to a halt, Jared?
Sure. As you mentioned, the NBA has postponed its season for now, as has the National Hockey League. Major League Baseball has suspended spring training. We're seeing the Boston Marathon has postponed its storied marathon. We have the Masters of Golf, which is a prestigious golfing event, Major League Soccer, and notably the NCAA March Madness, which is one of the biggest sporting events in this country, has canceled March Madness tournament for both men's and women's basketball, which is very significant.
Right. We do know, Jared, that test kits in the United States has become a severe concern. There's a serious shortage, but at a time like that, there are allegations that NBA, Utah Jazz's team there, has managed to access 56 or 59 test kits while the entire country is trying to find for one.
Yeah, I'm not aware of what the exact numbers are, but it makes some sense for the Utah Jazz to obtain test kits, particularly since there were 2 players that tested positive. As we mentioned a few minutes ago.
But sooner than any other hospital, clinic, or health agencies.
I mean, I don't know about that. 59 throughout the country is the most significant number. I'm not aware of what the actual numbers are. It does make sense for them to test, but I don't have information as to what the numbers are throughout the country.
The questions arise that the privileged are able to access test kits, but people there are scurrying around to find their hands that much difficult. What's the situation in the United States currently there, Jared?
Well, I think there is gaining access to test kits is something that folks are working on throughout the country. In fact, I looked earlier today to find out where I could receive a test kit, and there are a number of community centers in different community areas within my area that we're offering tests. So I'll be looking into that this week.
Do you think the United States is handling the situation well, or is it too late in time for the government there to declare a national emergency? 2,600 cases is a lot.
Well, I think this is an unprecedented pandemic, and I think both the government and health officials are working to do their best to make sure that this is a controlled situation, that people get access to the health care that they need.
We hear most of the supermarkets are running out of stock. Hospitals there are packed. Would you know, how are you managing yourself?
We're managing quite well. There are some shelves that are sparse, but supplies are still there. I myself went shopping earlier today and was able to access a number of the goods that I was looking for. Certainly noticed, again, the shelves were bare in some areas, but certainly, the things that I was looking for were there and accessible.
Right. Even as NBA suspends, many other sporting events has been suspended indefinitely. Is there any plan to recoup?
Yeah, I think ultimately at some point the seasons will reconvene. I don't know what the time frame is on that. And there is some lost revenue. There will be a number of discussions with business partners of the various sports leagues to figure out how they can best, I'll call it renegotiate, rejigger, identify ways in which, the parties can come to mutual agreement to move forward under their contractual arrangements.
Aren't you carrying out a couple of games with empty stands? We hear that there are still plans to hold some of those tournaments there with empty stands.
Well, I think right now, for the most part, there has been a cease with respect to events in general at this point. There was some talk of certain venues hosting events without fans in the stadiums or the arenas, but I think at this point, given concerns of the athletes and the need to make sure we engage in social distancing, at this point in time, I don't think there are many events that are going to be held even in the absence of fans in the arenas or stadiums.
Right. Very interesting point that we heard is that NBA players are paying salaries of those working in those clubs who are currently out of money.
Well, I think what's happening is a number of NBA players have stepped up to make sure that some of the hourly workers who oftentimes run the arenas or the stadiums are able to get pay. And it's an extremely magnanimous gesture, and it speaks to, to the NBA in particular, but to the hearts of sports athletes. Oftentimes, they're seen as these iconic figures without real connection to the community, to their fans. And this is a perfect example of how particular NBA players take care of their own within the basketball family. It's a good thing to see.
Right. A quick word on what are the precautions that all of you are taking individually there in the United States, Jared? Any direction or advisory given to all of you?
Yeah, I think we're following what the Centers for Disease Control and our government authorities are suggesting to us, and it's, engaging in social distancing, avoiding, large groupings or crowds of people, but constantly washing hands in warm water. In fact, I note in my head it's, 20 to 30 seconds, but being liberal using hand sanitizer, which you can find in a number of public places.
Right. Jared, thank you very much for sharing those details. We do understand that the sporting fraternity in the United States has come to a halt. Similarly, even in India, we've seen repercussions. Thank you very much for joining us. Do stay home and stay safe. Thank you, Jared.
Hi everyone, Preeti Chaudhary here. Hope you like this video. For latest news and analysis, like and subscribe to the India Today YouTube channel. And don't forget to press the bell icon to stay updated. Thank you for watching.